Hi, I'm Patty DeDominic. I'm a strategic business consultant. I work with companies in the 20 to $50 million range who are on the verge of exponential growth. As your trusted advisor, I partner with you to ensure a higher degree of productivity, proficiency, and profitability. One of the most important things we do is help you clarify your vision for the future.
Welcome, everyone, to the Impact Zone, results driven business experts.
Welcome, Patty. So nice to have you today. You're a business consultant, but not just any business consultant. Tell us what you do specifically and how it can help companies that you serve.
I'm a strategic business consultant. I work with companies that are on the verge of exponential growth. They either have a plan for expansion or they need to make personnel changes, upsize, downsize, or they are preparing their company for an eventually sale, and then they want to get the highest strategic value that they can for it.
Why is it important to work with someone like you? I imagine these are kind of complex situations. So how do you help them sort through everything that they need to do to reach these goals?
These are complex situations and they require expert decision making with objective expertise, outside advice, and somebody who isn't dependent upon you for their paycheck to tell you what you need to know, not just what you want to know. So we have to help the clients make the right strategic initiatives because, as we all know, these things can go off the rails very, very quickly. There's so much at stake.
Wow, yeah, I imagine they can. And there's probably a lot of money at stake too, not to mention time and frustration. So you come into the equation, you have a look around, and what do you notice typically?
Well, these entrepreneurs come to us for our proprietary and our systematic approach to these choppy waters. So we do look around. We often find chaos. We help them sort through the chaos and come up with a refined vision for the future. And we make sure that everybody's on the same page instead of all this finger pointing and waiting for somebody else to call the shots.
So, as their trusted advisor, you help them navigate that. And you mentioned having outside perspective. Can you share a little bit why that is so important? Why someone like you is so important to them doing this successfully?
Well, I was a founder. It took me almost 30 years to learn this, and I don't want somebody else to have to go the slow route, right? So these are complex decisions. There is a lot at stake. And in fact, it can be millions of dollars and careers and avocations and client outcomes that really matter. So we take our systematic approach, we customize it for each client. And when you get clear on where the North Star is, when you have plans, productivity sales, proficiency grows, and profitability is there.
So it sounds like you help them navigate the minefield, the typical pitfalls that they might embrace. Because with your 30 years of experience in navigating these kinds of waters, you can bring an outside perspective that they might not even know that they need.
Yes, it's true. And, along the road to growth, there are plenty of disasters, crashes, and implosions. And I want to make sure that my clients are on the road to strategic growth, not on the road to the graveyard.
Oh,
Because
that's
over
good.
66,
That's
over
really good. On the road
66
to strategic growth, not the graveyard. Love that.
In fact, I've got a free ebook that I offer clients. It's the 8 deadly pitfalls on the road to accelerated growth, because sometimes the dead ends that can tank a business look exactly like opportunities. And so we want to become more discerning about the differences between those threats and opportunities and figure out how to seize them, leverage the moment, leverage your people and the talents, and sort through that chaos and get the clear path towards more profitability, more proficiency, and productivity. As a trusted advisor, I work with the founders to help them make the decision about what the next steps for the business are and what their personal goals are. And there's a lot of chaos that's going on too, and a lot of fear with our employees. So we generally share the message with our key employees. We make sure that we're all singing from the same hymnal, if you know what I'm talking about. It's just too easy for things to go off the rails. We see it time and time again when some startup businesses just crash and burn because they either grew too slow or they grew too fast. There's a formula that you can actually use to make sure that you're hitting your goals.
So you come in as the trusted advisor with all of your knowledge and your skill set, and you end up creating an action plan for them, the strategies, the tactics, the action steps they need to take. So there is no equivocation. The path is clear, and they can take it step by step with your input.
We get rid of the confusion. We establish accountabilities. I am trying to give you best practices from publicly traded companies, forecasting, planning, accountability for results. That reduces the chaos. It reduces the turnover, and it helps create more happiness because they know what's expected of them, and you have a mutual definition of what success is.
So it's not just the founders that benefit. It sounds like all the teams benefit as well.
Well, it's really not possible to build a 25, 50, or $100 million a year business without having a good, strong team. And in fact, a strong management team can grow the owner and founder's vision exponentially. By making action plans, by having accountability, and then having a system to review those action plans. Of course, there's a lot of custom curated education that goes along the way to building these systems, but they are customized, even though we have a proprietary system that we've developed over the past 20 years with our coaching clients. It's really important to customize the situations for your particular team, your outcome, your strengths and weaknesses, and to be able to capitalize on those opportunities.
Great. Do you have a case study of someone you've worked with that you could share with us?
Oh, well, I have many case studies. One of my favorite companies, though, is the wonderful, very well-known success story of Lynda.com. I met Linda Weinman, the founder, when her company was about 20 years old. She liked to say that she'd been walking in the desert for 20 years, alone and afraid. There's that old saying about you have to do that in order to come to the promised land. So Linda was highly profitable at 13 million. They were making decisions. They just hired a CEO. They weren't sure if they were going to keep their COO. But in working with them, we made some strategic hires, and in 1 year they went from 13 million to 50 million. At that point, we set our sights for a $100 million valuation. And I'm telling you, it was so exciting to see less than 3.5 years from the day that I met them and started working with the founders. They sold to LinkedIn for over $1.5 billion.
Whoa, that's an impressive journey.
That's what I love and why I do what I do, because I don't want my clients to take 30 years to figure out how to make 50 million.
So Patty, if people want to learn more, I think you have a report or an ebook or something you can send their way. Can you share about that?
I created an ebook exactly for entrepreneurs like you who are on the verge of exponential growth. It's the 8 deadly pitfalls to avoid on the road to accelerated growth. Because as we all know, the stakes are high and the risks are huge.
Thank you, Patty, for joining us today. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
It was great to be with you too. And remember, you are the master of your destiny. You are the captain of your ship. So don't let other people sink it for you. Let's go. Let's go.
Right.
Smooth sailing.